A friend of mine was hit starved to death just because of beans. That the beans was not soft enough for a man to eat. I've experienced coma good 3 times. I'm telling you my life history.
You saw those signs. What happened? You were in love. You just ignored the signs. Continue ignoring the signs now.
There is no marriage without fights. Let us not deceive ourselves. This is a man that I know that, oh yes, he hates me, but yet he loves me.
If your husband sexually abused your child and you find out it's true, what are you going to do?
The man will
It should be
definitely
reported.
be reported.
Yeah.
But that does not feel me that I will divorce my husband. I want you to get that fact.
Please signify if you agree with the prompt. Divorce is the only way out of an abusive marriage.
I can't stand abusive marriage anymore. I've experienced coma good 3 times. I will advise separate, say like 2-3 years, 4 years, and see the both partner will adjust. If it does not work, go for divorce. Let everybody say calm down. Then let's see who is the devil and who was the angel.
I don't believe that divorce is really way to save a marriage personally, but if someone can abuse you in a relationship, someone can lift their hand up to hit you, why are you married to that person? What are you doing there?
Can the disagreeers now speak?
Okay, divorce is not the only way out. Think back. It has not always been beating now. There were real good times. Think back about that good times. Think back on how you started. You would definitely find a loophole somewhere. I hate beating, but no one is a saint. You will not die inside that marriage.
Amen. Go away. Stay separate.
The only reason I'm on this side is because of the word only. Divorce is not the only way, actually. Even legally, there's something called judicial separation, which means that you are legally allowed to stop cohabiting with this person for the reasons that you would ordinarily divorce that person. Because even when you go to the courts, the first thing they ask you as a legal practitioner is, have you advised the client on reconciliation? If there is any chance that the parties will reconcile, the court would stop that proceeding to tell you, go and reconcile. So divorce is not aimed at actually separating people. The whole concept of divorce happens when the marriage has broken down irretrievably. Simple. At the same time, there should also be attempts to protect the party being abused. There are laws that protect people. The Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. Lagos State has adopted the domestic violence law as well that can give you protective orders while you're separate from this person. And in this moment, it is left for that person to now prove that he is no longer a threat. Also, there's been so much focus on physical abuse. Abuse can be psychological, it can be sexual, it can be financial. It's not just the physical abuse. The courts in one of the cases said a dropping water melts away the stone. It might be minor acts, which in themselves, they do not amount to reasons to divorce, but when you accumulate them, it amounts to reasons to divorce. Even the courts recognize that. My name is Fisayo. I'm 28. I'm a legal practitioner. I'm married and a year and 3 months now. I'm pro-divorce because I don't think divorce is a problem. I think divorce is rather a solution to a problem.
I'm just going to start with this. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but I can't prefer a solution as to what anyone should do. I'm still quite young. But I'm going to say that at the end of the day, we've convinced ourselves that divorce is the cure-all answer to it. And it's really wild because based on the data, the people who have divorced, right, and gone into second and third marriages have way less chances of it succeeding. It's 67 for second marriages and 73 for third marriages. Even when we're not talking about abuse, people just think it's normal. People just think, it's degeneracy to society. The analogy I love to use is, imagine society like a body, like a human body, right? And the family is the cells of that society. When you begin to break it off one by one, it causes, you don't know the effects. So saying divorce is just a cure-all excuse and normalizing it is like saying we shouldn't drink liquid because we have the chance of choking. It doesn't make sense.
What happened to dialogues? What happened to having a conversation? Because before the two of you got married, you courted, you saw those signs. What happened? You were in love, you just ignored the signs. Continue ignoring the signs now. Why did you have to? No, hold on. Except you didn't see the sign, and nobody can say they did not see even the slightest bit of signs that this person could be abusive. I have been there, I have been abused. What did I do? I called my partner. What's going on? What's happening? Why is this thing happening? We had the conversation. You can't just say, oh, divorce is going to solve the issue just like that. It doesn't. Okay, you get divorced and then what?
A friend of mine was starved to death just because of beans. That the beans was not soft enough for a man to eat. The argument started. Okay, let me go and cook it more. He said, why is it taking so long? Just for the woman to say, it's beans. You allow it to solve, and he said it's too strong. Bah! Started punching the woman. She retaliated to save her life. The next thing the man did, he picked a bottle beside him. A pregnant woman with 3 months child in her womb. Before she rushed to the hospital, she passed away. And my name is Elizabeth Udo. I'm 54 years old. I'm a divorcee of 11 years now. Hitting every time. Little thing a man will provoke, little time, little thing I will provoke. People say marriage is adorable. It's not enduring. As long as there is no hitting, no abuse, both from the husband or from the wife.
I feel like the topic they've been using is too subtle for you guys. So you have a child. Male
Yes,
or
I
female?
do. Male.
You have children, sorry, ma'am. Male or female?
Male, female.
Ah, beautiful. Okay, so like, we've been talking about physical abuse since. Let's say, for instance, now, your husband sexually abused your daughter. Are you going to
God
stay with him?
forbid.
God forbid, yeah. But it happens. These are things that happen. Will you stay with him after?
First and foremost, let me tell you the truth. I would definitely want to find out that thing.
No,
true
if
or
your
not,
daughter come and meet you, start asking her, is it true or not? If your husband sexually abused your child or your wife sexually abused your child, and you find out it's true, what are you going to do?
You know the beautiful thing about that question? I'm going to consider priorities. If I leave my spouse, right, what consequence do you think will be greater? Leaving that marriage is not going to reverse the emotional trauma. If I'm a mother and I didn't have any education whatsoever, I don't have a 9-to-5 job, I don't make any form of money at all, and I know I need that for financial assistance, I'm going to say, look, I'm prioritizing my daughter's or my son's future ahead of this abuse. This abuse, it already happened. It's a bad thing, right?
Well,
but it already
if
happened.
you
But I'm
divorce, like, it's
prioritizing
stable,
that future.
there are countries that if you divorce,
help.
there'll be financial compensation.
Let
So
me
if you know you're
help.
going to
But
get
it's
financial
not always sure.
if you know
It's
you're
not
going
always sure.
if you know you're going to get financial compensation from divorce,
The
are you going to do it?
You never know.
You shouldn't
If you
get
know.
divorced
No,
due
you only
situations
know when
like
you're in
that.
the divorce
reason
process.
who is going to help the man? Like the man needs help,
course,
obviously.
I know the help that he needs.
What do you mean? That's your husband.
You're
That's
sexually
your
assaulting my
responsibility.
child and you're telling me I should be
that is
responsible for him?
Yes, you.
Bro, what?
As a
The
wife,
man should be in
as a
jail.
wife, you should be responsible for
What
Has it been like that? Did you know that he has
After he
been like
assaults
that?
my daughter, I
Something
start
is
interrogating
definitely
him. Have you
wrong.
been like this? Is this your first time?
So
Seriously.
putting him in jail, how does that?
I'll be at peace knowing that whoever assaulted my daughter.
Are you sure you'll be at peace, or you're just imagining that?
Let me address a lot of issues that have actually been raised here, most of which border on criminal allegations. If a man rapes a minor, that's a very grievous crime, regardless of whether he's the father or not. The right steps that should be taken, because you're saying the emotional abuse has happened, you're right. But that daughter will grow up knowing that the mother condoned it. That's a greater emotional abuse. So the best thing the mother can do at that point is to do everything to protect the child, which includes making sure that the father, if you're not going to at least report the father, you take the child away from that environment. But you can also, like I said, if you divorce this man, you have a legal claim to financial support that it would be binding on him. So you saying if you leave it would, no, that doesn't
it's
happen.
not always like that.
It is
It's not always like
it
that.
depends. And like I said,
no.
once you're able to prove certain things in court, and when you're talking about if the man is not
we talk a lot about corruption.
Hold on.
He's allowed
The
to
man
talk.
is not even, for some reason, convicted of that crime, because obviously the burden of proof is really high in cases like that. You have recourse to so many, like I said, the law is there to protect. A lot of times we just don't test the law in the courts simply because we have this ideology that, it doesn't work. It works, it just takes time.
But
Honestly.
that does not mean that they are divorced.
Yeah.
Yes, he asked me that question and it shocked me. I want to be sincere. He has answered, he has said exactly what I wanted to say. Separating that child from the father is the most important thing at that moment. So, but that does not mean that you are divorcing your husband.
If this type of incident really happen, and you find out it is true, would you still marry that man?
I will still be with my husband, but
God forbid.
Listen, I will still be with my
A man that will
husband.
sleep with me and sleep with my daughter.
See, if I am the child, I'll arrest you and my father.
A man that I got wedded to. If I'm a lawyer, I would sentence him to death. What were you even thinking of? Oh God.
Yes,
Let
I
me
will
live with
still
such
be
a
with my
man.
husband. But let me stand very well and talk. See, do you know that time the man is already separated from me? That does not mean I'm divorced from my husband. But that time, my own mind too is not even at peace with him. Because that is a devilish act. Law can decide to take me to jail or whatever.
That's if you report him.
Yeah, that's if there's a report made.
Yes. No, there will definitely be a report.
Oh, that is going to
No.
Yeah, there should.
The man will definitely be reported. But that does not feel mean that I will divorce my husband. I want you to get that fact. I will definitely stay away from him for the period where he's going to see this punishment.
If you actually are okay with that person doing that thing and you still want to be with that person, the law doesn't have an issue with that. What I appreciate that she said was that she would take steps to ensure that the man is brought to book for whatever crime he has committed and the child is protected. Under, I think it's section 15(2)(c) of the matrimonial clauses, or 2B, it talks about adultery. And it says where the respondent has persistently and willfully committed adultery and the petitioner finds it intolerable to live with that person. If you've condoned an act and the man doesn't do it again, you cannot divorce on that once it is proven that you condoned it.
If Christ died for me and cleansed all my sins, and have been taught that forgiveness should be the key in everything. Assuming such a thing happens to me, I'll go gaga. I'll feel like tearing him apart with my hands. I am not going to divorce my husband. I will watch and see that he suffers very well and get to realize the evil he has done. And my parents taught me that divorce is not an option in marriage. For better, we died here.
We would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 50,000 subscribers in the first quarter of this year. Divorce should be normalized.
Divorce is not the problem. You have to come and prove to the court that these things happen before the court grants you a divorce. So if someone has gone through these circumstances in life and has decided they are no longer willing to go through those circumstances, why should the society force or stigmatize them for making that choice? I feel that is hypocritical because there's something they say, it's the person that wears the shoe that knows where it is.
Yes.
I don't think the society should stigmatize people who are divorced.
Because they have not been in that shoe that you are. When I first separated from my husband, we started with separation. We separated for about seven times before I found out that if care is not taken, one person head will enter 6 feet. So it is better for us to stay alive, to wash our children group, train our children, nurture them in the will of the Lord. So many people said a lot of things. Church came in, villagers came in, family came in. You can imagine the trauma.
And something that I find really unfortunate is that the stigma doesn't even stay with the man, it's the woman. The man is most likely free to just continue his life like it never happened. It's the woman, and I understand because obviously she has children and those children are attached to her. But at the same time, I think the society should be able to see through what that woman has gone through, and rather than stigmatize her for her decision, have empathy for the situation she has found herself in. Generally, marriage is a contract. At least under the law, it's a contract. Under religion, it's an oath or a vow. Like every other contract you can decide to pull out, then you should be allowed to. I don't see how that is a problem to any other person.
I believe that if a couple goes into marriage knowing that like divorce is an option, nobody will want to spoil the marriage knowing that divorce can happen. That's basically it for me.
It's not a big deal. If you try to make it work, it does not work. Oh girl or boy, put the paper down, sign them, rest your head. Marriage is not by force.
Can the disagreeers now speak?
Where did we get lost in society to think it should be normalized? You made vows on that wedding day. You made vows. Now, if anybody can divorce willy-nilly, what is the point? Children are the beginning of empires. Now, if you're going to be shaping them and giving them the example that vows are just protocol, till death do us part is just protocol, I wonder what kind of parent you are. Okay, let me ask you a question. If you got cheated on, right, and your wife divorces you, right, are you going to be comfortable with the fact that she just did it because she knows she can divorce you anytime?
Why did I cheat in the first place?
She cheated on you.
Cheated and she
Yes.
divorced
Are you
you.
going to be comfortable with the fact that she just did it because she knew that she could divorce you
She
anytime?
can't do that.
Are you gonna really have
She
that?
can't do that actually. Yeah, legally. You can't cheat and then bring a case to court to say I want to divorce because I cheated.
Can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
You got married to a woman that is stronger than you.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Every little thing, she threatens you that she's going to bully you, she's going to bully you. Every time she bully you, your father comes in, the church comes in, the uncles come in, she still remains. Will you still go ahead to marry that woman?
There's something in dating, right, and age that relates to each other. When you're dating at the right age, you build emotional intelligence. So when you know that a case is going to come like that, when you know there's a probability of that, right, you create contingency plans, right? Now that contingency plans might not be divorcing, but there are other methods.
It shouldn't be a normal thing. It's the end of the end. It shouldn't be a normal thing.
Take a look at our society currently, for example, how people are just diving into divorce with any little discomfort. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. People no longer want to manage, not even manage, like build. Now that people are saying we should not stigmatize, they should stigmatize them. Because if you don't stigmatize them, that is why they will feel very free.
Exactly.
Your
my
husband
point.
just raised his voice at you a little bit, or the wife did not cook soup for you the way you like it, you just get a divorce. They should stigmatize them. People will say, oh, it's only the women who get stigmatized. No, people no longer want to go into relationships with single fathers anymore. They are being stigmatized, so it is good. They should continue stigmatizing them. Maybe that one will help them to think, okay, at least if I cannot fight for my marriage, what about the people that will be insulting me that I couldn't stay in marriage, or the people that will be saying, oh, I carry children for her, they know if he dates me.
You believe people are like just jumping into divorce, right?
They are. Look at the society.
Do you
Can't
also
see?
believe that people are also just jumping into marriages? Supposed to be married, are married.
Yeah,
Yeah, so those people that are
making our
married,
point for
should
us.
they be allowed to divorce or not?
This is the reason why some churches will make you go through series of what they call
Counseling.
See, we are talking about like the whole world. You cannot just talk about like just churches.
No,
here.
I'm telling you that if all churches, or if they can say, if you want to get married, go through the process of counseling, they can normalize that. Since you want to say they should throw marriage away.
Okay, see, that,
instead of throwing marriage away.
that actually makes more sense, because like if you want to divorce, you need to go to.
But we are not talking about that right now. We are talking
It's
about
still
divorce.
the same thing.
We're not talking
Still the
about that right now.
Divorce
We're
have like
talking
you have like a long list of things you need to go through before you can divorce. When you are
Okay,
being
let me
abused
just-
or you falling out of love.
Some people just divorce because of
For the slightest reason,
trying to say is
especially
that, like, the
lately.
your soul be hammering on divorce with so much pleasure. I don't know. Maybe it's coming from a divorced home. Maybe he has lived with those who are from a divorced home and he has seen one-hand experience of what it is there. All this beating and all that stuff.
I'm from a very stable family and I've not really seen or experienced divorce firsthand. But I've seen people that should have gotten divorced. So that is one of the main reasons why I'm here. I believe divorce should be normalized, not something that people have to go through lots of process just to get to.
You people think you can just walk into court and
Exactly what I'm saying. You
divorce.
can't just divorce like that.
That is not, you cannot even divorce within 2 years without the leave of court. And what that means is that you have to first ask the court, can I divorce? And there are grounds, rape, bestiality. Sometimes if you marry within bloodlines or if you marry within relatives, let's say you marry someone that was insane, someone that was not capable, there's very strict requirements.
But this is
within
them
2 years.
they are venturing divorce because they feel it's normal, because it's normalized. It's easy for them to bring a.
That's what I'm saying. Now, it's easy for them to bring it, but they still have to prove.
You can't just wake up and look at your wife, look at your husband that you love so much. You went to the altar and wear a ring, dance, do this. Said, you know they do again. That there is something that will make you to do that thing. I would say it's not normal to divorce, and it's not also good to stay in abusive marriage. Before a man or a woman will do that, just cutting to this place. I will not say divorce is good and it's sweet. It's not sweet too. It's very bitter. Oh, I don't know how to put it. Look at it back and front before you do it, because it's not rice and beans and stay alive.
If you believe in love and the two of you actually really love each other, there is nothing you cannot work out.
It is not only abusive marriage that can make somebody divorce.
Yes.
It's not even on the top 3 or
You don't
5.
even need to reach that
It's
far
not
to
even
make
there.
that
It's not even up there. 8th of January 2024. I think that's when it was released. It was a Forbes list. Domestic violence is there, but there are things way above. I'm not saying it's to discredit domestic violence. We have lack of commitment there, lack of education when your spouse is illiterate. We have substance abuse, so many other things, right? Domestic abuse was either 7th or 9th. So I was just thinking we could treat the other things instead of focusing on violence and all.
There are so many things. So many.
Mary.
Communication, lack of communication. It can
cause divorce.
Make a marriage stop.
That one is worse.
See, what I just have to
That
say
is
is that,
so simple. It only has to do with dialogue. If you are saying it fast repeating, maybe you don't pass through the one that fast.
that's not a drug.
No, but I just want to tell you the truth.
She said she don't go for that.
Marriage is till death do us part.
Of course, marriage is till death do us part. I mean, for example, you were wedded in church, definitely the officiator would ask those questions and tell you till death do us part, and you say, yes, I do. So
When you're already in the process of dating and all, fiance or fiance, whatever, you're already thinking consciously and subconsciously in your mind, this is going to be, I mean, that's what I would think. This is going to be it. It's death or nothing else. So it's just, I think it's intrinsically obvious.
Growing up, we were told that marriage is till death do us part. So I strongly believe in that. And my parents never divorced. All the people around me never did that. So marriage is till death do us part.
Can the disagreeers speak now?
Already the Bible said that it hates divorce. And also the Bible said that marriage is that do us part. But when I was growing up, I found out that 2 of my friends died inside marriage. I married at the age of 19. My husband started hitting me when my child was 4 days old. I move along with it so that the both sides will not hear. My parents should not hear. My auntie should not hear. But I almost lost my life inside that marriage. I tried to make it work. It could not work. I seek for divorce. They said, don't go. It's okay. I know what to do. When the thing was up here, because after 4 times of entering coma, 3 days, the first one took 4 days, I almost gone. Why waiting until you die? I will make an example with, I'm not mocking her, our singer, Ozinachi. I want to make it work. I want to make it work. She ended up dying. So why dying inside the marriage? Go for divorce. Let people say what they want to say. Save your head so that you can fight for your children when they need you.
All of you guys here is saying you think, you believe, but like, that's not a strong enough reason to stay in a marriage. I don't think marriage should be a life sentence. Just as I decided to get married, I can also decide to leave the marriage. It should not be by force.
There are several instances that can come during the term of the marriage that warrants that marriage to end. I think she has mentioned one, which is pro-life. Life is the most important thing that we hold dear. You have the law at your side, and you also have religion at your side. Even in the Bible, there's a part where it says you can get divorced on certain grounds.
She said she married at the age of 19, if I'm correct. I would just like to say that I think, not with you, ma'am, but I think generally with the data that has been presented, generally, that is the leading cause of divorce. I sympathize with people who get abused. I'm not saying it's right.
It doesn't happen every day.
I'm not saying it's right. Thank you, but based on the large number of divorces, it's minimal. If you check
It's
the
not
data,
even up to 40%.
thank you. If you check the data, 11 cases
Can you
of
reference
divorce.
the data?
Let him,
Good.
let
It's
him,
from Forbes.
no, let him
the
talk.
top 11 causes of divorce, right? Domestic abuse is on the 7th level. Do you know what's on the first? Lack of commitment, right? Domestic abuse is a bad thing, fine, right? But we can't use that excuse as a cure-all degeneracy.
You said Forbes. Where was the data sample taken from? Is it Nigeria or the whole world?
It's the whole world.
But if you look at the data in Nigeria, it's definitely not going to be the same in the US or in America.
No, but this is
or
all
in the
over the
UK.
world. Divorce is
generalizing
I
it.
understand
This
what
is
you're
a
saying.
general
I understand
issue.
what you're saying in terms of what you mean by, you have to make a commitment. If you listen to what I was saying it's a commitment you make every day. I totally agree. What I did say was there are circumstances that come into play during that commitment that gives you an out. Marriage is the union between 2 people. That's what marriage is. It's not a marriage, one person. So when the other person is doing certain things that are in some way going to affect your life in a negative way.
Okay, sir, but as human beings, right, we should always think with something at the back of our mind, right? This decision that I'm making, there's a probability it's gonna go wrong, but am I gonna stick to my responsibility? Am I gonna stick with my kids? Responsibility comes first.
She said she got married at the age of 19, so I still want to go with that. Teenagers are not meant to get married. On a more sincere note, if we tell ourselves the truth, because they've not known anything. They are supposed to concentrate on their education. Before you get married, you need to have a good and wide knowledge about marriage. Number 2, instead of divorce, I prefer separation. You see, separation is not divorce. I'm a Catholic, a born Catholic. Stop to tell you, Madam, Oga, go and stay separately for a while. And then start attending counseling. Now, that period whereby we are doing that is a period, it's a time for them to have a routine. What is actually the issue? What is it that I am not doing well? I have passed through it. And I have come out from it boldly to now say that divorce is not the best. Someone else who also passed through the same stuff called me one day and told me, Madam, don't make a mistake to leave your home. Go on your separate ways for a period of time, even if it is 2 years. Even if it is 3 years, just go on your separate ways. You will still communicate with your husband. Your husband will communicate with the children. Things like that. That's the period you will now know whether you truly love that man, whether that man truly loves you. Forget about love. Is there a little sacrifice, just little sacrifice I can do for the sake of keeping your marriage? Think about it, that same period that you are away.
He said you can go for like 2-3 years separation, which I have seen, I have done. Yet, instead of the person to change, he was adding more fire. I'm very sorry to say this. I'm a woman. When you love a man, don't show it to his face.
No.
He was rubbishing that love on the floor, on the ground.
I don't support that.
Please.
Sister, he was thinking that I cannot cope 2 months out of his roof. But as the Lord will have it, this is me here, 11 years. I'm still working stronger.
Do you know, I want to tell you something. It is
Sister,
simply
I'm
because
coming.
you got married
I'm coming.
at a very
Excuse
wrong
me.
age.
Excuse me. Sister, excuse me.
Let me just address
because
the age
I
issue.
managed this marriage. I did not just leave when the marriage
I'm
was
very
2 years.
confused. What makes you think divorce would have
Please, can
solved that?
someone listen to me?
We are listening, my love. We are
but we
listening.
need
I did
to,
not
we need to
just
correct
leave.
you on some things.
I did not
because-
just leave when the marriage was 2 years or 3 years. This was a marriage of 25 good years that I tried to push so that I can work.
Because
Instead,
you were married at a young age. So at that time, you were already getting mature. So you were seeing the things that you now like, and then you are having friends that will tell you, oh, your husband shouldn't be doing this
nobody.
to you. And you
I
were
didn't
talking
take
back
if
at that time.
If
You were
I should
mature
take
enough to
anybody
talk back.
advice, I would leave the marriage
One
when the
thing-
marriage
one
was
thing I want
starting.
to
I'm
ask
sorry, do
is-
you know
1
that
year.
inside
Please.
or outside of the marriage, that man, if he was properly motivated, he could have still hurt you. So the problem is not the marriage. Day by day, right, we have stalkers. Now, the stalkers, right, men that stalk women and women that stalk men. I'm not invalidating your experience, right? I don't stand for abuse. Let's get that straight, right? But I'm saying, at the end of the day, people die every day. Divorce is not going to solve that. Even if they divorce, it's not the full thing. I don't know. There are many probabilities, many variables in this world, but you never know if divorce was going to solve that in the first place. She could have died. He could have killed her, divorce or no divorce.
I have a question. If I have a lot of things to say, let's say, for instance, now you and your husband separate, yeah. 2 years after, you find yourself doing better, communicating with your children, your relationship with your children is way better, financially you're okay, you're stable, mentally you're all right. Are you going to go back to the man?
I will still go back to my husband. Let me tell you why.
She wants to explain to
I'm
you.
listening.
Let me tell you why.
Cha.
You see, this is a man I married with so much love. And I got married at the age of 30 years. And then I have known what love is. Then I understand the difference between love and infatuation. Now, this is a man that I know how he treats me. This is a man that I know that, oh, yes, he hates me, but yet he loves me. He brings out his heart to show me that love, really. I'm telling you the sincere truth. It's not about the fact that, oh, we are here and camera is on us. No. He showers me with so much love. But then, I would definitely go back.
Divorce affects the children negatively.
I agree with the fact that it affects children negatively, but I would also like to state that divorce in itself is not tailored to affect children. Let me just put it that way. When you're going through a divorce, one of the most important things the court considers is the custody, guardianship, welfare, advancement, and education of the children. Anything else, as far as those children are concerned, the court puts it aside and focuses on those children to ensure that they come out better.
I want to talk about the mental aspect of, divorce affecting the children. There is no marriage without fights. It is a bitter truth. Let us not deceive ourselves. Even in a family, you see brothers, sisters fighting themselves. Talk less of people who come from different homes. So I'm now going back to the children. The children will see all these things. They will expect that, oh, daddy, why are you doing this now? Mommy, calm down. Mommy, go and beg daddy. Daddy, calm down. Daddy, go and beg. It has happened to me. Now, whereby the children now see, oh, mommy is going a separate way, daddy is going a separate way. The children don't always they are not always happy. They are not always. 99% of such children are not always happy.
I think she's exaggerating.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say in this essence is this. Children from broken home, those ones that are just growing up, not the ones that have come into the world now that are so big that their ears are filled with divorce. I'm talking of children that are just growing. Talk to them. If you talk to these children, they will tell, oh, I don't like the way mommy and daddy are living separately. They will tell you the truth from their hearts. They will go to school. Other children, sometimes they don't even want to play with them. They say, this one, daddy and mommy are not together. Oh, what will she come and tell us now?
I'll use my child as an example. I married early. I married at 26. I'm currently 29. I've been 3 years in marriage now.
Wow.
Yes. So within that 3 years, myself and my wife have separated countless times and we've come back together. So those times when we separate, so when I go there for settlement, when I see my child, I don't feel happy. Like, I feel like he would have been living better if he was with me, but he has no choice. That is where he could stay at that time. Like, one person just decides to, anyhow they want to dress them or any school they want to take them to. I agree that the court has a say with custody, or how do they call it? But sometimes the court might be wrong. They might give the child to the wrong person. 90% of divorce affects the children more.
You guys are just throwing numbers out now.
Nigerians will over-exaggerate when we want to give percentage.
I can't understand where you're coming from.
I think you get
Yes,
the point.
But
See,
what I'm
just the
saying
same way divorce affects children, yeah. There are children from like families that their parents are still together that are affected by that kind of marriage. Like, their children are begging their parents to go to divorce. These are things that I've seen firsthand.
if people are
like
bad
that.
parents, that's on them.
Can the disagreeer now speak?
It depends how tender the children are. But if the children are grown-ups and they'll be seeing the beating, the fighting, the separation all the time, so many things are not working well, then they finally divorce themselves. It will not affect those children at all. Because they have been seeing like one person's life is going to go if these two are not staying apart.
I mean, what you're saying, yeah, I understand what you're saying. The children will understand that, like, the divorce is right, it was needed and all that, but I don't think that's enough reason for them not to feel it. I don't think that's enough reason for them not to get affected by it.
The children suffer a huge blow when it comes to divorce. They have a stigma. Wherever they go, they call them children from broken homes. And people see them as
themselves.
children who cannot,
to anything.
yes, they are bound to like influence others negatively.
Because they think they don't have home training
Yes.
of any sort.
I have a question. First of all, yeah, I don't know where this myth came from, but people are always talking about like the effect of divorce on children, but nobody ever talks about the effects of like children seeing their parents harm each other. It does not necessarily even need to be as extreme as harming. It can be things like the parents setting unhealthy relationship ideas for the children and all that.
People change after marriage.
Yes.
You have your own personality, but actions you make and reactions that come about those actions form human beings.
We will just be pretending. Honey, darling, sweetheart, baby. They will call you all sweet names. That same man, that same woman will enter your house, turn things around. Even me, I was so angelic. But when you get to a point, oh boy, I removed that angelic cloth. And one said, I wear that black clothes because I cannot come and die. And my children I will not be able to help them.
It's either you're changing for good or you're changing for bad. But you see, when it comes to the bad one, someone can be good and come into a marriage and meet a fire for fire mother-in-law. The person will change you.
you would definitely have to change some attitudes that you probably used to do before, but in marriage is no longer something that is feasible for the union. So those are like the everyday. Maybe you wake up 10 before, but your husband goes to work early and you want to prepare something for him. Or maybe your husband comes back after work, he goes to drink with his friends. Now he's thinking, now I have a wife at home, I have to come back home early. It boils down to even financial sacrifices where you start to see the nature of your spending changing. How you used to spend as a bachelor is different from how you probably spend as a married man.
I believe change is constant in human beings. It's normal. Everyone changes. I don't think you even need to add it to marriage. With or without marriage, people are going to change definitely.
Very much. Okay.